Good boy, stay. Yeah, good boy. Good boy, Benny. Alright, Benny. So, Benny's our model today, and he's going to be showing off his Kong Stuffable. So it took me a while to get the name for that last video. But yeah, that's the name of the product. It's Kong Stuff A Ball. Hyphens between it, Stuff A Ball. Yeah, that's it's now in Pupsicle mode, and Benny's going to be showing off a Pupsicle in a Kong Stuffable small, and so this has been filled with a bunch of kibble that's been softened in some water, and some peanut butter and a few other things in there. And then frozen in the freezer so that all the liquid inside freezes rock solid. And then he basically, especially on a hot day, or if he's just hot in general, he gets to get a Pupsicle and have some fun. So we're gonna show you him enjoying his Pupsicle now. So, ready, Ben? What's that, eh? Sit. Thank you. Take it. Yeah. That's a pretty messy thing, so I'm going to have him eat it on the ground. Good boy, Benny. No. No. Stay down. Good boy. He's just checking to confirm what the rules of this particular game are going to be. Theoretically, his map's out, so technically I let him eat messy food sometimes on the map, so he's just trying to figure out what the rules are going to be. So if you noticed on the exterior that the sorry guys, doing my best. So yeah, you'll notice on the exterior of the ball, the ridges, I shoved some of that frozen, or that cut kibble, moistened kibble, in between each of the crevices, and that's what each of those like brown ridges between around the ball are, and then let that freeze as well. So that's an easy treat for him to get to, and gets him into starting to get onto the treat. Yeah, is that good? Okay. Stay down. Yeah, good boy. Yeah. No. On the ground. Thank you. No. Benny, hey, no. Thank you. Good boy. He's a bit of a softie at heart. He likes to lie on soft things. So, I may end up letting him up. I'll see. He doesn't like to feel left out either, so since I'm over here, he wants to be here too. Is that good? And just holding it in their mouths basically is like having a popsicle in their mouth, so it's particularly useful for those kind of things. So I'm doing my best, guys. And now you also know the origin of the white spots. When he sits here sucking on the balls, or whatever toy he's got in his mouth, it'll often leave that white residue I showed you in the last video. You can differentiate that from mold based on looking at it and feeling it. This is almost like a calcium deposit, and it's really rough, and it's very clearly a mineral. It basically feels like rock, or calcium, limestone, etc. Anyway, so in addition to that, if it was mold, it would feel soft. Sorry, guys. It would feel soft, and it wouldn't feel rough. It would feel mushy almost. So you can kind of judge the difference. Obviously, I clean up even the slobber part on a pretty regular basis. I don't want any mold to actually grow, so yeah, I make sure it's cleaned out on I find the easiest way is to crush the toy repeatedly and then bang it out, and then a wet cloth just wipes it off. I find that's the easiest way to clean out the slobber residue. And I'll do that usually every day or two. But within a few hours, it's gotten covered in slobber again. So, he goes through, he has a whole bunch of different toys like this. They're some of his favorite toys in general. Yeah, is that good? And so in general, at any given time, he has at least 3 or 4 of them on the go. And yeah, one's in his mouth, another is emptied recently, another is getting filled, and another has already been filled and waiting. So it allows me to kind of rotate through, and always have a toy on hand that I can play with him with and that he'll enjoy, and that will keep him occupied if I need him to be occupied. Yeah, good boy. Good boy, yeah. In Benny's case, I know he's got a pretty good handle on what he's doing, so I packed it really full. But the first couple of times you pack these for your dog, make sure you pack them loosely with less rather than more, and keep don't just crush everything together. Keep the kibble shape intact and have less moisture in the system. That'll make it easier for the dog to transition from playing the regular game to Pupsicles. Yeah, is that good? Now, Benny hasn't been brought through this level of the training, but my last guy, who was a full adult and had long gone through the training, he would take out, he knew how to open the freezer, and he would push the freezer open at a big chest freezer, and he would take a new frozen Pupsicle out and put his other slightly defrosted Pupsicle back in the freezer himself. And whenever the Pupsicle he was on was starting to like defrost, he would trade it in the freezer for a new fresh one. That was always funny to watch. He really just likes sucking on the cold object. One thing you'll notice is that, well, I will make Pupsicles out of Kong toys. I won't make them out of the dollar store toys, and most pet store toys for that matter. I'm just not comfortable with knowing for 100% whether or not the materials are food safe, whether by virtue of having the extended contact, the sucking, the long-term presence in their mouths, the food leaching in the freezer and during the packing process and then being consumed. Like there's a lot of factors that make it concerning. So, as a general rule of thumb, I really don't like using a lot of toys for Pupsicles. But the Kong toys and a few other manufacturers that I feel confident with, I'm pretty comfortable with. You can also just use like an ice cube tray, and just fill it up with the same mixture, and then throw them a cube of it, and let them play with it like that, or in literal like ice cube, like popsicle trays type thing. I wouldn't bother with the stick part, but it's not the end of the world for some dogs. Some dogs can chew on that stick. I wouldn't want my dog to have a popsicle stick, but and you can also just use like ice water, like plain water, frozen. So there's lots of different ways that you can make use of these treats and toys. This is just perfect for a hot day in the, trying to record on a hot day, isn't a great thing to begin with, so it's even better that, I do it with, Pupsicle. Because that way he can stay cool while, all of that's going on. Next time I go to my storage locker, I will rotate through some treats and toys. I'm not treats, sorry, I'm tired of my brain. I can't even speak today. Rotate through the toys that I have in my stock right now, and I'll bring out some different ones and let you guys see some new, different toys. Obviously, Benny's had some time with these toys already, but they're new for you guys. Good boy, Benny. And don't be alarmed if the first few times you try this, the dog's a little unsure and confused about the idea. Or just frustrated by the fact that they can't get any food to fall out immediately. That's why I recommend going with the less food packing, and less moisture, and maintaining the food original food shape, or kibble shape. It just makes it a little easier for them initially. This, for a lot of dogs, would be very frustrating because they're not getting what they're used to. Which by now they should be nearly finished the toy, and they haven't gotten much out. A lot of dogs would by this point be very, very frustrated and upset with this toy if you tried to just give this as their first time at it. The first time Benny got a I can't speak, a Pupsicle, it was very frustrating to him, and he actually threw his toy at me. After like, I'd say 5-10 minutes of him working very, very hard and not being able to either crush the ball or get food to come out. You know, he liked the initial taste on the outside, but yeah, he was very, very frustrated by the whole concept. And at one moment, somewhere around the 10-minute mark, he had it in his mouth, and he kind of like swung his head back from side to side and flung it at me. I don't know if he intended to, but the action was that he opened his mouth, and it went flying out of his mouth and smacked me in the leg. So, I mean, he was just a little baby. I don't know how he would have necessarily known to do that, or if that was in any way an intentional act, or just a random coincidence, but it was definitely amusing. Is that good, Benny? Good boy. Is that good? Now he understands the game. He doesn't get frustrated by it. He just enjoys playing it. But take it easy. Take it one step at a time. Let your dog figure the game out. They'll have fun. Worst case is they leave it for a few hours, it defrosts, and they'll come back to it and play with it and discover that it was playable all along, and they'll try again, and they'll enjoy it, and you'll move on. That's one of the nice things about these frozen Kongs, though, is they are a lot harder to for the dog to get the food out, and they take a lot longer for the dog to get whatever's inside out, and when it's not frozen, it would be long over by now. Our last guy was a little different in that he didn't care as much about the food inside it as much as he just liked to hold on to the cold thing. Like he loved ice cubes. Um, I would have emergency ice packs in my first aid kit, and anytime he would get too hot, I would pop them, and he would just lie on them, and he would be just in heaven.